All right, everybody, welcome to our tier list for EVERFEST. It is 125/22, today's date. We still have a few days left of spoilers. So these are the spoilers we have so far. We are going to kind of break down what we think of each card so far. We've made a tier list here. All-Star obviously being a very, very exceptional card. Staple being something that we think will be a three of in some decks going forward. Role player, a card that will see some play. Niche, maybe see some play, but probably in one deck. Dark Horse, you'll figure that out as we go on, and could be better. That's pretty self-explanatory. There's some not so good cards that have been that have been shown so far. But obviously, these are going to be our opinions, and if you disagree or agree, feel free to let us know in the comments down below what you think of the cards. If you would place something in a different category, we'd be happy to listen to that. Everybody's got a different opinion, and we are for sure not going to be right on all of these. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to start with the Skullcap as kind of a baseline card to let you guys know what we're thinking and where cards are being placed. And take it away. We've got Josh, Nathan, and Sebastian here, and we're going to give this a go.
Yeah, so these are all the spoilers from what I consider day 0,
Mhm.
day 1, and day 2. So
Mhm.
the very, very first card that was actually spoiled was Skullcap, and I think that's a really good starting place for us to talk about because this will kind of show you where we think one of the most common cards in the game will be.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
I would say just starting this off, I'd put Skullcap as a staple, but I wouldn't put it as an all-star card
Yeah.
because there
100%.
are better choices for many heroes. Like Ninja would never run Skullcap,
For sure.
and it actually might even be moved down to role player depending on what other equipment we get.
Yeah.
So
I think it's fair to say that it's a staple at this
Yeah.
point.
Right.
Just because it's generic, it can be put in pretty much any deck that it wants to be put in.
Right.
And there aren't very many good blocking headpieces. It is the best blocking headpiece in the game
Plus,
so
there's
far. So
just not enough hit pieces that do something for a deck, and that's what
Yeah.
when we get into it, the warrior card kind of
Mhm.
does something,
for
which
sure,
I like.
for sure.
So-
Do we want for each card to say like each person gives their opinion and then we can kind of hash it out and place a card, or do you want to put it
I mean, we could. I think our initial gut feeling, if it's like relatively the same, we can kind of put it between two, and then we
Yeah.
can kind of talk about it and figure it out.
Okay.
And I guess we'll make the ones that are on the left side the closest to being up. So the ones to the right are kind of like the bottom of.
Sure.
So the ones on the left is like high staple. The ones on the right is like low staple.
Okay.
So there are several ways we could do this, but I think it would be best to go through the equipment and weapons first.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because these have the most effect on the game. Let's start off. All right, let's just start off with Arcane Lantern here. So this is one of the few generic equipment cards that make you pause and be like, wait, hold on. We might be able, like, certain characters actually can't use this. Like,
Yeah.
Kano is incapable of. I guess Kano could
About
dual
half,
wield,
yeah.
but can you dual wield this?
You cannot. You cannot
cannot,
have
right?
Because
offhand,
they have
yeah.
the
They have two
offhand,
offhands,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So if your class does not have a one-handed weapon, and there's
Right.
currently no one-handed generic weapon, you would probably not run this. So heroes like Kano, for their current weapons, and even the third weapon, which we'll talk about soon, are two-handed. So they
Yeah.
would not even consider this, right?
Right.
Rune Blade as well. I think all their weapons are two-handed as well, so they
Yeah.
wouldn't even consider this as well. And heroes like Dorinthia, who are very, very likely to keep running Dawnblade, would also not consider this. But this is a card that will probably see more play than like Iron Rot and Ironhide. So do we have like a gut?
Role player for me.
Hmm.
Agree. Agree.
I don't
Yeah,
think it's going
so-
to be a staple just because, like you were saying, many of the heroes are just simply just not going to play it. There's just better options, and we also have a lot of two-handed weapons. We're not going to sacrifice our game plan
Right.
to
Let's-
play some Arcane Barrier.
Let's be honest, as it stands, that's basically a Guardian class card right now.
100%. Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's a
Yes.
Guardian card right now.
For
Yep.
sure.
Could change, but right now.
Yep.
But the fact that Guardian can play AB5, that's going to be tough for any Kano player, any
The-
Wizard player. I'm sorry.
When I first saw this, I started thinking about in the Dorinthia versus Kano matchup in Blitz, would I run a Centauri Saber and run Arcane Lantern so that I could run Courage of Blade Hold? And I was thinking that might actually be worth it, because how you lose games as Dory is you draw your red hands and then you can't do anything. But with Courage, you can still do something. So that might be worth that.
Worth a test, at least.
Worth a test, at least. Running a Centauri Saber plus an Arcane Lantern as Dory.
For sure.
Just so this, I think this is a card that will be in a couple months' time. We'll figure out if this is like supposed to be here or higher or lower. This is actually the one I'm a little bit unsure about.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on to the next equipment. So the next equipment we got is the Helm of the Sharp Eye. That is over here.
Right there.
So this is a warrior equipment headpiece, blocks for 1 and has battle worn, and it also has attack action, 1 energy, destroy Helm of the Sharp Eye. Banish the top card of your deck. You may play it this combat chain. Activate this ability only if you control a weapon with power greater than twice its base. So
I think Raiden when I think of this card.
yes, it as it stands is a little bit tricky to get Dawnblade to 7.
Mm-hmm.
This also might enable some funky axe strategies, although at the moment I feel like Dorinthia runs Dawnblade, Bolton runs Sabers or Dawnblade, and Kasai runs Sabers, obviously. So I could the question is this better than Skullcap
Exactly.
in Warrior?
Right.
And the answer is
I know you had an opinion on this
barely
earlier, Josh.
yes.
Yeah.
So Skullcap is not always 2 health, but 80% of the time you can make it so that it's worth 2 health, right?
Yeah.
And then the AB3 is generally not useful. Once in a while, I guess against Runeblade, it might be kind of useful to have AB3. This card I feel like just needs to be tested a bit, but I would probably put it into role player. Kind of like my gut says is that this is better for Bolton than either one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I might actually put this into niche, but I'm a little bit optimistic. We'll put it kind of like at the bottom of role player for now.
Right.
That's where I would put it as well. I think it's a remains to be seen card in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that's not a card I can intuitively look at and be like, for me it looks risky. Like I'll reveal the top card of my deck if it's something, whatever.
Yes.
And until I don't like cards that I have to like, for instance, most equipment is there for when you need it, right? This is there when you need it, but maybe. Does that make sense? Like,
Right.
You might whiff if you didn't have the setup already, but like I don't know. Like, I don't like
I still
things
whiff,
like I don't like things like that where the Skullcap is a guaranteed 3 block or whatever, or at least 2 block throughout a match. But like I said, remains to be seen. There could be some great utility with that card in my
It's
opinion.
definitely not like Mask where you just read it and you're like, way better than Skullcap.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. The next equipment is actually a weapon. It's Kraken's Aether Vein. It is a wizard 2-handed staff. Once per turn instant for 3 energy. Deal 1 arcane damage to target opposing hero. Draw a card for each arcane damage dealt this way. Note, this is once per turn, so
Yeah.
60 card blue decks died before they even got there.
Can somebody this card on the surface for me looks mediocre, but there's a keyword in there that I need some clarification on because I don't know if I know the wizard cards well enough to know if this is good or not. It says for each arcane, and on the surface you're like, okay, deal 1 arcane damage. Okay, you're just going to be drawing one card. Is there a way to buff the arcane from this weapon so that if it deals 3 arcane damage, you draw 3 cards?
Not currently. I don't think.
Okay.
Not currently.
So we don't
Aether
currently
Flare
have
and
something that can do that, right?
Aether Flare and Metacarpus nodes both reference
Cards.
card.
Okay.
So the defense reaction, does that also say non-attack? I haven't read it in a long time.
You said which
Absorb into Aether?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
it says card as well.
that should be card as well.
Okay.
I have a feeling that they worded this in a very, very particular way. Yeah. This card is basically, I mean,
I think
Let's
it has
also
future
talk about.
potential.
this is
Yeah, it has future potential, but also if we're looking at like the card pool we have now, Wizards' hardest match is like Oldham, and they're already getting AB5, so
Right.
this is definitely not going in that match. You want the +1
yeah,
on every
and-
attack.
and Crowd of Seeds can, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as it stands, are we feeling like this is a
Either
Yes.
niche or could be better. It's one of the two.
Yeah,
I'd
niche
put
could be
for
better.
me, it's niche.
Yeah. I
okay?
could go with that.
Unless there's more cards in this set that we just haven't seen yet that can boost this, I think
Right.
it's a down the line card.
Yep. When we're finished with the tier list and maybe we look at it a couple days later, we might move these around. We'll see.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. The final equipment is Skull Crushers. This is the brute arms defense for 1. It says whenever you roll a 5 or 6 on a dice, your brute attacks gain +1 this turn. Whenever you roll a 1 on a die, destroy Skull Crusher. So this directly competes with Gambler's Gloves.
Yep.
And I don't know if do they
No,
does
this is their
Levia
first one.
or Reinhardt run Glad Gauntlet? It basically competes
Sometimes.
They do
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah.
with, okay, it basically competes with those 2 cards. So
Right.
is this better than Gambler's Gloves? Is the question.
Now, I'm going to say this from a competitive player standpoint that the main thing I want with my deck is consistency, right? And we actually know a very good Reinhardt player, and he says the worst part about the deck is rolling dice. That's the thing he
Right.
hates the most, because you can deck build your deck where you always have a 6 in hand,
Mhm.
but you can't predict a dice roll. And
Mhm.
I feel like when you do lose this card, when you roll 1, you're not getting an action point for the turn, and you're breaking this, so it's no longer there for the entire game.
Mhm.
When Gambler's Gloves is that when you're in a bad spot and you really need 2 action points, it's kind of your fail safe
Mhm.
for when
Yeah.
rolling a 1.
I've always thought that Gambler's Gloves was better on the other side of the table, like better against the brute deck instead of with the brute deck. Like
That is definitely something to consider, is that if you run Skull Crushers and your opponent has Gambler's Gloves,
right,
Two-
like
Worse,
now
yeah.
you're taking a ton of risk
Yeah.
when you're rolling Scab Skins.
right, exactly. And I think that's why I'm saying, like, I think it's better on the other side of the table, whereas most brute decks are actually switching to Goliath Gauntlet, especially for Blitz. In CC, the deck just has not generally been that viable. But down the road, they're trying to make it more viable. But every time they try to give us a card, right, like Scab Skins, you roll a 1, you fucking lose the game. Now you roll a 1 and you lose your equipment too. Like, what if you haven't
Yeah,
blocked
no.
with it or whatever? I don't know. They're just the downside is way too heavy to me to consider. I don't know. Like, I put this card in niche personally, just because the downside is just huge. And I think Goliath Gauntlet is a fantastic addition to their deck, or Gambler's Gloves if you need to re-roll for a failsafe for your Scab Skins. But
I'd go role playing on it. I think
Okay.
with the cards that they're introducing, like Wild Ride and the other Brute card that involves rolling, I think the Brute deck is going to evolve into like a really slow or really fast roll a lot, and you know, if it has Battle Worn on it, so you block with it once, and if it breaks it, what did you really lose? Considering the equipment that competes in that spot, the unfortunate part is the Gambler's Gloves and how it entices a rolling type deck, which is what you would want Gambler's Gloves for.
Mhm.
Is the only hard part. But I would say bottom a role player maybe, or
Okay.
top a niche maybe.
What do you think, Josh?
I'm a little bit down on this card because in order to make the most use out of the first line of text, you're going to need a 4/5 card hand, and if you roll a 1 with a 4/5 card hand, that's pretty much a disaster.
Right.
So I would I'd put it maybe a top of niche. If you're that type of player that likes a more variance-based deck, sure, go for it. But I don't think I could put it up here with these.
I'll go ahead and say one of the first things I thought of when I read this card was I'm not using my opponent's dice to roll for Brute anymore. There's just too many reasons to try to cheat now. Here, you can have these dice.
All right, so let's move on to, why don't we do the generics and then we'll go by class. So
Sure.
Let's start.
Or do you want to do the heroes next?
Yeah, heroes.
Okay,
Get those
sure.
out of the way.
Let's do the heroes. So there's currently 3 revealed, or actually there's 4. There's the merchant, but he's not here, unfortunately. We'll just do these 3 then. Okay, so we have Bravo, star of the show, 4 intelligence, 40 health, elemental guardian hero, essence of earth, ice, and lightning. And it says, at the start of your turn, you may reveal an earth, an ice, and a lightning card from your hand. If you do, the next attack action card with cost 3 or greater you play this turn gains +2, dominate, and go again. So this is directly competing with Bravo and Old Him.
Yep. For
Initial
me,
thoughts?
for me, he's between staple and role player. I can see potential in a deck that maybe we don't know the utilization of, like the lightning cards and because that's like the main advantage, right? Is like you've got access to all 3. So I don't know what you'd get out of Pulse of Vault Haven, or like you can play all 3 pulses in the deck, and like that could be something neat. I don't think his ability is quite as good as Bravo or Oldham's. I guess that's really, for me, that's what it runs down to, is like, what is the utility of the lightning cards? Are we going to be blinking to attack twice? Or are we going to be I don't really know.
So the first thing that jumps out to me about Bravo Star of the Show is that if you're building a Bravo Star of the Show deck, you can't just focus on 2 elements. In order to use his ability, you basically have to build triple element.
And it's still
bad. Unless you're like running 2 elements and then you're running like all the pulses, but even then you could only activate it maybe twice, or maybe you're consistently holding a card to reveal to it. That doesn't quite feel right.
Yeah.
Or do you feel like people might just try to like forego trying to do the ability
100%.
and just play it as
Absolutely
a super control fatigue deck? And
also you get Crippling Crush, right? Like
exactly.
That's
Awakening Crippling Crush.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This also, that's another thing that one of my first impressions of this is that he could, because he has access to all the Guardian cards and Earth, he actually has a lot of defense reactions and a lot of recursion, and that could be, you could have like the most turtley control deck that.
Well, if you're going to do that, you would just run Oldham, right? Like the question on that card is what card in there in the lightning card pool makes it worth running a hero with a lesser ability, right? Because I ran the math on the ability, and if you have a perfect 20-20-20 split between all 3 elements within your deck, you have a 4% chance to actually trigger that ability. And even then, okay, what are you going to throw a blue burgeoning for 6 with dominate and go again? Like, okay, it's not that big of a deal, right? So, just treat it as blank text with a lightning pool.
Yeah.
Is basically how you have to look at it. And but that's a card like Blink, right? Okay, now your matchup against Prism just got a lot better, right? Because that's a whole nother aura you can take out during the turn. So I would put it at Dark Horse. I think if somebody can put the right combination of card pool, and there might be something else that comes out in the set within that lightning card pool that really pushes it. That's where I would put it.
Plus, this might be our first good stuff deck in the whole game, right?
Yeah.
We never had like just put the best cards of all these different, Guardian, Elemental, Earth, Ice, Lightning. This might be our first like good stuff deck. Who cares what the hero does? We're just playing the best of what we can.
I think it's the second, but this is the best by far.
Second.
Shiana would be the first, but that's in my opinion not playable.
Right.
So,
all right. So are we kind of in agreement to put it down here because we don't really know yet?
Yeah, we don't know.
Right, we'll put it down there. All right. Next, we have Icelander. So, it's important to note that Bravo Star of the Show is only in Classic Constructed.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Icelander is
only a
young hero, only in Blitz. 4 intelligence, 18 health, and she says, Essence of Ice. If it is not your turn, you may play non-attack action cards with blue color strips from your arsenal as though they were an instant. Whenever you play an ice card during your opponent's turn, create a frostbite token under their control. What are we feeling about Icelander and Blitz?
I personally love this
one. Yeah. No, Sebastian's actually played a match with it, so I'll let you speak first because you know.
Basically, how the Kano deck has evolved the recent format is instead of trying to opt and play off the top of the deck, you're basically blocking 2 cards, keeping a blue pitch and a attack that's usually hitting for 5 or 6 or 4. I think it's usually 5 with like Aether Spindle, Yellow Voltic Bolt, things like that, Scalding Rain with the Crucible buff, and you're just playing kind of a mid-range until you can draw your combo, get them at that 12 life, and then do your whole combo. And I feel like this deck just does that better because you have the ice card to slow down.
Not to mention it has more life.
More life too.
3 life is huge in Blitz. And
exactly.
You can run the 2 staples of the format, Sigil of Solace and Sink Below, without worrying about missing as Kano.
Plus, you have Heart of Ice in the mirror match.
Yeah, that's actually the main thing, is that she, in theory, invalidates Kano.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so at minimum, she has a role-playing role in the metagame, right? But given all the other things, like, and Wizard as a base class is very strong. Yeah, I agree. She's probably going to be a Blitz All-Star. And you should be, if you're going to play in a Blitz event, you should definitely study up on the deck.
I'm telling you now,
general idea.
Look out for Blue Stir. All right, because it's still it still plays on your opponent's turn, and it's really fun to play.
And you can play energy pots on your opponent's turn.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Exactly. Yep. So all right, we have our first All-Star.
Definitely.
All right. Finally have Valda Brightaxe, also a young hero, 4 intelligence, 21 health. Whenever an opponent draws a card during an action phase, create a seismic surge token for each card drawn this way. At the start of your turn, if you control 3 or more seismic surge tokens, cards you own with Crush gain dominate this turn.
Well, we know with the new Guardian card, you can make a lot of seismic surge tokens on your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
You're talking about Pulverized.
Yeah.
Guardians in general in Blitz have had kind of polarizing matchups. Especially Bravo. Like, there were one of the before Ultim existed, Bravo basically got pushed out of the metagame by Ira. It didn't matter how nice your start was. I remember when I was in Hong Kong, I got like a turn 1 Powering Titan into a turn 2 Crippling Crush, and I still couldn't win the game against Ira, like because she's just too efficient. And in order to set up a big turn as Bravo, it's too telegraphed. Same with Valder, it's probably going to be too telegraphed.
Yeah.
There's also just no shot we'd play this over Bravo.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I mean that's kind of like the
Or Oldham.
the tell to me. Like,
Right.
yeah. Why
Yeah.
would what? It's just there's the ability is not worth 1 extra life.
And
No.
Yeah, and she does not have an element attached to her, so
Right.
she
Exactly.
just has the Guardian pool.
I'd say it could be better.
Could be better.
Absolutely.
Yep. Sorry, Velda. You're gonna have to prove yourself. prove yourself to us. All right, so we knocked the heroes out there. All right, so let's just get into the generics.
Should we start with all the amulets and potions and talismans and kind of group all of them?
Sure. Why don't we do those first? So let's do the items first. Okay, so let's start with the amulet of Haven Call.
Trash.
So this is a blue pitch. Blue pitch.
Yo, let's wrap it up easy. All the trash.
Yeah, let's go over these pretty quick.
Yeah, this is a blue pitch zero cost.
So I'm gonna put my hand up just for one reason on all of these. I think Amulet is the only one that is actually going to see some sort of play, and the only reason I say that is because it's an instant speed ability to pop a Phantasm trigger. With Rally the Rearguard being the red one being a 6. You can leave this on the field and defense react, destroy it, search out the rally, and then you can essentially choose which one you'd want to pop without wasting a card out of hand.
Yeah.
So there is a play that you can make with this card that is not terrible.
Okay, so you're saying put this in niche.
I'm going to say put that in niche and not trash. Yeah, essentially. Right. That's my opinion, though.
It's a lot of work to pop a Phantasm. Just run CNC.
I get it.
Yep.
But in general in card games, right? Like if you have a way to search a card, people often say like, oh, okay, I'm running 3 rallies. Well, now I'm running 6 rallies because I'm playing Amulet, right?
If any deck runs this, I would say Ketsu would be running this. This is a 0 cost blue pitch. Ketsu doesn't have 6 power stuff.
Right.
That breaks it easily. This might be a Silver Bullet card.
Sure.
All right. So next item up for bid is Potion of Luck, 0 cost blue pitch. Instant destroy Potion of Luck. Shuffle your hand and arsenal into your deck, and then draw that many cards.
Trash.
Could be better. Yep.
The Crown of Seeds says, look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power.
Yeah.
Using a whole action point just to do that. Like,
I know. I don't understand that.
Even if it had Go Again, it's still a bad card.
Even if it was worse Hope Merchants.
Yeah, I was about to say, it feels like a Hope Merchant's Hood, right? Yeah.
Right.
Is there any point in... So it says Arsenal, so is there any point as a ranger to get a 6-card hand? Is that
not when
you have to load your bow again
already? Like, I feel like that's what you want. Like, you want your cards in Arsenal.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Potion of Luck.
Yeah.
Could be better. All right. Talisman of Featherfoot. 0 cost yellow pitch. Go again. When an attack you control gains exactly +1 power from an effect during the reaction step, destroy Talisman of Featherfoot, and the attack gains Go again.
I'm gonna put this one at the top of trash.
Yeah,
top of trash. Okay,
because it's only good in Bolton.
Bolton,
right?
We were talking about it in the chat where like if it didn't say reaction step and it just said +1, it's like maybe in chain you do it. And
I mean, I saw the only niche use I saw for it was in Ira and Katsu.
Hold on,
because of ancestral empowerment and breaking scales. there are things in that deck that can give the easy
The
plus
+1,
one,
yeah.
the exact
Yeah,
plus
but
one,
your
right?
combo cards that you have to use breaking scales on already have go again.
A lot of
playing
them don't unless they're comboed, right?
So using it as
So,
a
so,
combo,
so
sorry.
you're saying like a lot of the times you're using the breaking scales, it's kind of like a haha, gotcha, kind of card where like you attack for a meaningless 2 or 3 damage with your combo card that doesn't have
Right.
go again, and then you're
Sure.
like, okay, and the opponent's like, of course I'm going to take this. He's
That's
not going to give this go again.
Plus, worst case, it's 0 Katsu ability. In
But
that
if,
scenario.
but if this sits on the board, and then
Yeah.
they're like constantly going to have to think about like, okay, he has another way to give go again. But
yeah,
it's
In Katsu, maybe. So I just, as a Bolton main, I should know better than this. This when an opponent defends with a attack action card, that is during the defense step. That's not during the reaction step. So this doesn't even work for Bolton.
yes.
Oh, then
This
it's
does not.
But you
it's the
can
bottom of could be
you
better.
can beacon for 1, right?
You can beacon for 1. Singing Steel Blade both can give you this. This effectively just gives you a extra soul charge. This might be decent as if you're going first as warrior. Maybe you can put this down.
Is it a yellow
Third
pitch?
one. It's a yellow pitch. If this was a
Needs-
blue pitch, this would be better.
The
Yeah.
problem is you don't get to choose when it triggers. That's the problem.
Yep.
The
that's
first time
true.
it happens, it pops.
Oh, I didn't even actually look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's
All right. So
that's
we're
the problem.
gonna move it
Yeah.
down a tier.
Bottom.
All right.
the more we talk about this, the more I'm
Yeah.
getting. I like it.
Next.
All right. What item?
I think
do we have
there's-
next?
Oh,
There's
man.
3 down here.
And
All right.
okay,
We have
cool.
Amulet of Echoes. 0 cost blue pitch. Go again. Instant destroy Amulet of Echoes. Target hero discards 2 cards. Target hero, so it could be yourself if for some reason you want to do that. Activate this ability only if they have played 2 or more cards with the same name this turn.
I cannot think of a worse card.
This this might need its own tier. I mean, first of all, like they have to be running 9 copies of the card.
Right.
And they've
Like,
already hit you with 2 cards, and now you want to make them discard? Like, can you just imagine like erudition into oh, I'm gonna talisman you or whatever it's called, Amulet of Echoes.
Yeah, that's just bad. Could be better.
The only time I could see this being relevant is if if LSS goes down the design route of a card has the first line of text says you may have as many of this card as you like in your deck.
Then
Then
like a relentless rats or whatever it's called in Magic.
yeah, persistent petitioners from MTG,
Yeah,
something like
one
that.
too,
Yep.
that one.
So this is like the bottom of the bottom, and if they print a card, then maybe we could see it. Yeah,
Maybe
the bottom
a
of niche.
Yeah.
bottom of niche.
There might be a hero that comes out that is just like
Yeah.
search out all the amulets
Right.
in your deck or something silly, and
Right.
I don't know.
Yep,
But
fair enough. All right, we have Potion of Deja Vu, a 0 cost 3 pitch, instant destroy Potion of Deja Vu. Put all cards in your pitch zone on top of your deck in any order. Opponents do not get to see the order of the cards.
It's okay in Kano. You can pitch something that you want to hit.
The only blue that you want to hit is like Gaze.
No, I'm saying
Maybe a
you
potion.
wouldn't. What I'm saying is you wouldn't pitch a blue. You would pitch a red and Crucible, trigger that, put it on the top of your deck, Fort Lightning. That would be like the only use that I can think. Or stir and then.
If
Fort
you have a
Lightning.
red in hand and energy to pay for it, why aren't you just pitching that and then playing the red card out? Like instead of fishing.
Well, if
on
it's
the...
a combo, right? Like if you don't have the action
Okay.
points.
Here, I'm having Deja Vu. Could be better. All right.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
all the other
that's-
items.
That's it.
All right.
Put it right next to the feather foot.
Sure, we'll put it right there. All right.
Yep.
Finally, we have Talisman of Balance. 0 cost. Blue pitch. Go again. At the beginning of your end phase, if you have less cards in arsenal than an opposing hero, destroy Talisman of Balance and put the top card of your deck into an empty arsenal zone you control.
Remember earlier when I said I couldn't think of a worse card? I think this
Yeah.
one's competing for that slot.
The problem is you're playing a known card to get an unknown card, which just never seems like a good deal.
And this doesn't even allow you to. This doesn't even allow you to choose when it just happens. If you...
Right, exactly.
Oh, it seems so
it
bad.
has go. Is this that bad?
Yes, it's. Imagine I have a Fiddy in your arsenal, or a Heart of Fiendel,
There's
or whatever. in
definitely
yours.
deck constraints on this. Yeah.
Yeah, like it could get bad quick. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Maybe if you're playing like some kind of combo deck where you just want to play out everything, but even then, it's like
Nope.
do your Force of Nature Shiana.
It's weird because it happens at the beginning of your end phase. So like, there's nothing, there's no like responses or anything that are going to happen to when this is happening. And then it says if you have less cards in your arsenal. So I'm assuming that I attacked you this turn,
Right.
and you maybe sync belowed me or whatever, something from arsenal. And now it just, I mean, any time that the person can just, it's a known information, right? It's a talisman. It's gonna sit on the board. So like, if your opponent has a card in arsenal, they're not gonna keep a card. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't feel like there's any situation in which that's gonna be good.
Right. Could be better.
Yeah, I'm
Down at the bottom of the list.
Is it worse than Amulet of Echoes?
Not quite, but
not
close.
No,
quite. Yeah, not
I don't
quite.
think so. I think Amulet of Echoes is actually the worst card. Okay,
Yeah.
so we got all those out of the way.
Thank God.
All right, so do we want to go with class cards or do we want to go with generic cards?
I guess
Just get the
generics, right?
generics, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, since we were doing the generic items, let's just go with this. All right, so let's talk about Bingo. It's a 1-cost red pitch generic attack action that attacks for 5, defense for 3. And it says when Bingo hits a hero, they reveal a card from their hand. If an attack action card is revealed this way, Bingo gains go again. If a non-attack action card is revealed this way, draw a card.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm calling this one a staple. I know that it's debatable, but I can see a lot of potential for cards for this card, and the base stats are insane. 1 for 5 that has the potential for go again on the card itself while giving you card knowledge of your opponent's hand. It's just insane stats on the base side of things, and I don't think there's going to be much that's going to be required to give this card go again. Razor Reflex, for instance. You get card knowledge, you have an 8 go again, potentially 8 draw a card that has go again from the Razor Reflex. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting places for this card. Maybe not immediately, but like a card like this, anytime in card games that I've played, anytime a card comes out that has just insane base stats like that, there's going to be fun ways to play with that card. Especially like because the text of the card relies heavily on whether it's an attack action or a non-attack action. Obviously, if it's neither of those things, it gets neither of those abilities. This could be like a 3 of in the sideboard of some deck where you're like, okay, I'm playing against a Runeblade. Their entire deck is attack actions and non-attack actions. You know, like this could be like a great card against a Runeblade or something. I don't know.
This card seems like a sideboard card for particular decks.
Yeah.
I like this. First of all, this doesn't work against if they have an instant, they could reveal that. If they have an attack reaction, they could reveal that. If they have a defense reaction, they could reveal that. So
Yep.
this card already becomes way worse in Warrior because they're probably gonna have a defense reaction to reveal.
For sure, and also think that what I'm saying is about the base stats. Like, it doesn't matter what they reveal. 1 for 5 is coming in, and like
Right.
you could Kadachi into Rising Knee Thrust with Go Again or something, like a Razor Reflex the card before it into 1 for 5, like as a finisher. Like 1 for 5 is always going to be good, and it's generic, so any deck has the access to play it.
So if you're thinking about it, like
blocks
Alex,
for 3 as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it's a.
So-
I just
me and Alex in the chain deck were playing Tremor, which basically was we were playing it because it was 1 for 6. When this card is kind of like what Alex is talking about, generically good, 1 for 5, but you're getting some kind of knowledge, even if it doesn't get stats, that's fine.
Sure.
You know, we have ways to give it Go Again, or worst case scenario, you're getting a 1 for 5. Best case scenario, you might be getting an Arsenal card or a Go Again, and if you have something you can do, you can do it.
imagine this in chain, like Razor reflexing this, and then they reveal a non-attack action card. You draw a card, and you get to keep going. Like,
well, they wouldn't do that because that effect doesn't trigger till it hits. So they will have already known about the Razor. So they're gonna show you, unless that's all that's in their hand. But then that's the
you would
last
play this at the end of the chain, I think, when it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know?
you play it at the end of the chain for sure.
Right.
All I'm saying is, like, if you attack with Bingo, and you know, because you don't have the knowledge until it hits, right? So like, you Razor Reflex, you're coming in for 8 damage with Go Again if it hits with Razor Reflex. If they reveal an attack action card, sure, you already had Go Again. If they reveal a non-attack action card, you get to draw a card and keep going.
Right.
And regardless of whatever they reveal, like, you just have that chance to draw a card. I mean, that's why the name of the card is Bingo,
And 3
right?
block.
Right. My
And
biggest
3
thing
block.
is the cards that don't trigger a positive effect for me are the ones that I want to know about from the opponent. A defense reaction, attack reaction, an instant card. Those have the highest value of knowing your opponent has them.
Yeah.
So
You
that
still
way
get to
you
see it,
can-
right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I think that, no matter which way it goes, that there's a positive end on that card
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we move it to staple. That's my vote.
I think
I think it'll find some 3-up spots. Not a lot, but
My gut feeling. There's 2 reasons I'm hesitant to move it into staple. First is it gives your opponent the choice of what they want to do, so they're always going to
they
make
choose
the
their line.
better decision. But not just that. If this ever becomes as common as like CNC E-Strike, people are going to put more instants and D-Reacts into their deck.
Right.
Like, all it takes is 6 or 9 copies of D-Reacts or instants to have them 40-50% of the time, and then they're just going to reveal those to you.
Right.
Like-
Also, Josh, think about this. It's 1 for 5 coming at them, right? So they have a decision to make. I can either block with the defense reaction in my hand to be efficient and block this, and then I can't reveal the defense reaction.
Right.
Or
I got to give them something.
Or I gotta give them 2 cards out of my hand, show them a defense reaction, and I don't have a turn.
Right.
That's true.
So because the 5
5 is a weird number.
It's a very good number.
All right, you've convinced me. I will move it up to staple. But
The
I'm
bottom
gonna
of
put it kind of
staple.
a bottom.
The
of
bottom
staple.
is yeah.
For now.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
All right. So the next generic card we have is Fire Breathing. It's a 2-cost red pitch, attacks for 3, defense for 3. It's a majestic, just like the last one. It says, as an instant for 1 energy, Fire Breathing gains +1. Activate this ability only while Fire Breathing is attacking. For you MTG
Shivan Dragon.
players, this is Shivan Dragon. This effect, this first. So we've seen this effect in Exude Confidence, and is there any other one that we've kind of seen this as?
I don't think there's any really more infinite pumps.
no.
I don't think there is any other one. So this is a little bit of a hard card to evaluate because
If
the
it didn't
base
cost
rate
2,
is pretty bad. Like, it costs 2. Like if you have a blue pitch, this becomes 3 for 4. It's not amazing, right?
I'm
But-
personally thinking Dark Horse on this one because at the end of the game, this card, the amount of mind games you can play, like in a control mirror match, where if it gets down to that, if you just do that and they're at 5 life and you have a 3-card hand, a 2-card hand, or if you play from Arsenal a 3-card hand, and you're like, this can go up to 10 or
Would you rather just not
13.
have Exude Confidence at that point?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Because it's a 0 for 4. Like, I don't know. I think this card, I agree with the Dark Horse slot for this reason. In every card game I've ever played, there's always been at some point in the design space where they create some sort of infinite mana loop. And if you have like 3 of this card in your deck and you're playing some infinite mana combo where like I can generate 100 resources this turn from some sort of loop and you just fire breathing for like 80 damage, like I feel like there's going to be some point in the game where that happens, but it obviously is going to be degenerate when it does. And
I
won't last
really
long.
like this card for one of the biggest things is if you go to late game and your opponent can get you down to 1, 2, 3 health, but you can keep your whole hand. And if you have a 5-card hand and you play this and they're at like 6 and they took you down to like 2 or 3, but you got to keep your whole hand, this becomes a nightmare, especially if they're not playing any defense reactions. So this is again a non-warrior card, I guess. You actually don't want them to be running any defense reactions. But this allows decks to have like, especially I when I first saw this, I started thinking about this is kind of like last ditch effort. Like when your deck quality gets really poor, if you draw this plus 4, or if you arsenal this and then you draw 4 blues, like in the late game, maybe you only have 10, 15 cards left. A majority of them are blues. This could be your win con. I could definitely see this as like a one of, or maybe I do agree with Seb that this is a Dark Horse card.
My
Nathan,
biggest
tell us.
my biggest beef with this card, right, is you guys make great points, but like obviously this card, like Bravo for example, right? You have room for how many reds? 15, 20 tops, right? And you want one of these, like
as a one of in certain matchups, I think it's pretty
well,
valuable.
Well, if you're talking about second cycle, right? That means you're saying that you
Or
actually
third or
pitch,
fourth cycle, but
well, right.
Yeah.
You're saying that you pitched this multiple times,
Mhm.
which is already bad. Why not
Yeah.
just play? Why not just play the Exude Confidence, and you can get that same situation, but turn 1 because it shuts down the defense reactions. Like it just it just, and it works against Prism. It forces the play. Like it just all around just a much better card. Just doesn't block for as much. That's it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't like this card. But I also wouldn't put it in the couldn't be better, could be better.
Oh
slot.
no, it's definitely like niche.
Yeah.
If not top of niche, like that's where I would put it.
It's just it gets a +1 for artwork, but
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so we were gonna move it above Bravo, huh?
Sure.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. The next generic we have is Knick-Knack Bric-a-Brac.
Well done.
Mouthful there. This is a 3-cost red pitch majestic generic that defends for 2. Says as an additional cost to play Knick-Knack Bric-a-Brac, you may destroy any number of copper, silver, and or gold you control. Search your deck for a card with amulet, potion, or talisman in its name and put it into the arena, then shuffle. For each 4 copper, 2 silver, and or 1 gold destroyed this way, repeat this process.
Well, there you go, Alex. There's your merchant that can search all the amulets.
I'm gonna give this one a good old flat no.
Could be better. Could be a lot better.
They made a
deck
card
in
that
Blitz.
searches bad cards, costs 3 and pitch for red.
And no go again.
And require that you have copper, silver, and or gold.
And it defends for 2. So
It
the
just all
strongest
bad.
amulet, potion, or talisman in the game at the moment are energy potions,
Yeah, still the
times that
WCRs
potions,
for
and
sure.
and the so there was a Cavdine deck that went for an OTK plan,
You have to
using
tell me about this one because I don't know.
using slogism and
Sounds terrible.
last ditch effort.
You don't have to go any further. You don't have to go.
Yeah, so they basically put a bunch of potions out. They played defense the whole game. It was bad because Kano just rolled them over pretty badly. So,
Blocking for 2 is actually super strong. When you to run this card, you have to run 15 to 20 cards that don't block at all. I'm just saying.
This card
saying.
is really bad. in my opinion.
That's bad.
That is true.
I think
All
someone's
right.
gonna make a meme deck and blitz with Merchant, but that's about it.
Yep. All right. So, right in the middle.
Sure. Yeah.
Why not?
Sure, why not?
So it's
Put it with all the
linked
potions.
by
Put it with its
buddies.
buddies, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We have the next card is This Round's on Me.
Ooh, I like
One
this.
cost, 3 pitch, blocks for 3. Each hero draws a card until the start of your next turn. Attacks at target you have -1 power. Go again.
And Nathan clearly seemed excited about this, so let's give
Yeah,
him the
let's-
floor first.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that if Briar ever moves away from the Mount Heroic ordeal because of a ban or something, anything like that, another ban, if you will, then I think this is a strong card just because it's a blue block 3 non-attack action,
Yeah.
right? I don't really care what's on the text. I just, just the fact that it's a resource card that could block as a defense reaction or has a little bit of playability to it. I think that if Briar ever went that direction, I think it would be a 3-of for sure.
My first initial reaction was that it says attacks that target you, not attack action cards or cards. or
Yeah, so
whatever.
spectral shields and all that. Yeah.
So spectral shields, Kodachis, like
Yep.
there will be some use for this card at some point or another.
Right.
I don't think it's good as it stands right now, so I would put it in the niche category. But that's
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think
Yep.
this card has its role.
One
If
day.
you
One day.
want it,
I-
if
Yeah.
you want it, you want it. All right. Next, we got Life of the Party, a 2-cost red pitch, generic attack for 4 with 2 defense. Says you may discard or destroy a card you control named Crazy Brew rather than pay Life of the Party's energy cost. If you do, choose all modes. Otherwise, choose one at random. Note it does not say roll a dice, so you can't even use Gambler's Gloves. This is just you choose one at random. Life of the Party gains when this hits, gain 2 life. Life of the Party gains +2 power. Life of the Party gains go again.
niche.
Hey, don't shit on my meme deck, all right? My merchant meme deck.
you gotta run Crazy Brew in your deck,
He'd have to be crazy to do that.
and
You don't
Black
have
card.
to run Crazy Brew.
you are technically correct.
At least none of the options are bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
I'll give it that. I'll give it
6
that.
go again on hit, 2 life.
It's either a 4 with go again, or a 6 with no go again, or a souped up life for life. That's at its worst.
If it blocked for 3 and costed 1, I would
Yes,
say it's a role
100%.
player. But
Yeah,
Or
Because
if
it
it's
costs-
attacked for 5, that might
yeah.
just
bump it up a little
something
bit.
better than having to play. Crazy Brew.
Currently, could be better.
Yeah, it could be better.
Yep.
It might be fair that we put the card in niche just because some people are going to play this card. but
we'll put it at
Nah,
the
yeah,
higher end of could be
yeah,
better. Let's just
for
say.
sure.
All right. Next up, we got High Striker,
High Striker.
a 0-cost red pitch generic action that defends for 2, and it says The next time an attack you control hits this turn, create 6 copper tokens. Go again.
This is the definition of a niche card. Like,
Yes.
If I was to make a niche card, this is what I would do, what I would make. A thing that does one thing and one thing only, and it's something that almost nobody wants to do.
Mm-hmm. I guess. So we have cash in, and we have. How else can we use?
Just that stupid potion card.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So we can't evaluate. We can't put a numeric. Right. We can't put a numerical value on a silver.
Do something with them?
Kasai does, but
yeah, but she generates enough already.
She generates enough by herself. She doesn't actually need.
Yeah.
Right. And so until we get something that is like cash in, but if more better and more of it, then we can't evaluate it.
I could see this as a meme Dorinthia deck playing cash in, because sometimes you get token. When you play your Spoils of War and you hit them, you get 2 tokens. You play this.
You need 8.
I mean, you can run 3 cash in, right? So it's like.
Can you make this card better than Nish?
No, I can't at the moment. No. All right.
Let's move past the bad card.
Yep.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna put it above the amulet. I feel like that.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
All right. Next, we got pick a card, any card. 0 cost. Pitches for 1. A generic action that defends for 2. It says look at target opponent's hand, then name a card. Choose a random card from their hand and reveal it. If it is the named card, create a silver token. Repeat this process thrice, meaning you do this 4 times in total, as Alex pointed out to us. So
this is by far the best money generation card.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But what that does, I don't know. Like what that does, I don't know.
So if your opponent ever blocks with 3 cards,
yep,
you get 4 silver. If they block with 2 cards, you can roll some dice and get 2. Yeah, this is by far the best money generation card, although it is going to take a little bit of. This is probably one of those cards where you have to arsenal and then wait for the right time and then play it. And then once you have the money, then you have to go to step 2. So it's like you're jumping through a few hoops here.
Mm-hmm.
But
it does cost 0.
But it does cost 0. Does have go again.
It's niche.
It's niche.
Absolutely.
Any deck that if there's gonna be a money dot deck, this is
that's the card to play.
This is gonna be a 3 of in that deck. And yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna put it around there. Feels about right.
Cool. Yep.
We'll just call it the investor deck.
Yep. Investor.deck.
Yeah.
All right. The next generic action that we got is a 0 cost red pitch.
Yeah.
Generic action that defends for 2. It's called Smashing Good Time.
The next time
an attack action card hits a hero this turn, you may destroy an item they control with cost 2 or less. If Smashing Good Time is played from Arsenal, the next attack action card you play this turn gains +3. Hello, half of Plunder Run.
All right, let me just say that I saw a meme card today. I posted it in chat. The next time an attack action card hits a hero, the meme basically said make Dash cry.
Yeah.
Make her a blank text hero.
You're gonna give that first attack +3. You're gonna give this go again.
Right.
And
you're playing Bravo, so you're giving it dominate.
Exactly.
Right. For 0 cost coming from Arsenal, I'm gonna crippling crush dominate you for 15 and destroy your induction chamber.
All I'm saying is look to the card to the left. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Look to the card right to the left. Like that's it. Dude, like you play that from Arsenal and then 3 pitch into a Macho Grande and like Bravo has no problem with Dash.
I think we can agree this is a staple.
That's a staple in every Guardian sideboard. Is what
Nam is gonna beat his chest when he plays that against a Dash player.
All day.
Is there any other decks where this would be useful?
Anybody
Other
that's got a
than
bad
Guardian.
matchup
Yeah,
against
bad
Dash.
matchup.
Yeah.
Prism.
Because if I'm playing a go wide deck, it just says the next time it hits, if you're playing Bravo, you give it Dominate, or any Guardian, you wait for a Dominate card and do the same thing.
This
just
is a
guaranteed to
majestic,
hit.
right?
Sorry?
I think
Is it a
Yeah.
majestic?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not going to get different colors.
This is
No.
a rare. This is a rare.
Oh,
What?
yeah.
So
Oh,
we might
no.
get different colors.
That's
3,
bad
2,
news
1,
for
yeah.
Dash. Oh man.
Because that would help. If I can play this yellow in Prism, I'm playing this yellow in Prism.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
All right.
Maybe Dash got a really good item and she needed some tapering back. Who knows?
All right. The final generic card that we got is a 0 cost. Pitches for 1 generic instant. Says it's called Even Bigger Than That! Exclamation point. Play Even Bigger Than That only if you've dealt physical damage this turn. Opt 3, then reveal the top card of your deck. If it has power greater than the amount of damage you've dealt this turn, create a Quicken token and draw a card. Initial thought here is that this is a ninja combo short-cutting
Yeah.
card. Looks
Exactly what it is.
quite nice.
Probably running blue though, right? Just opt that top card, see if it's one, and then just throw it on the bottom if it misses.
Yep, this
I don't
this
think
is
red would be worth it.
Yeah, opt 1 here would be
Yep.
probably good enough.
Yep.
Question's going to be whether it's worth an actual slot in the deck.
Well, they just freed up some spots with Plunder on, tell you that much.
I mean,
That's
this
fair.
this is basically a, if you're playing the blue, it's almost exactly like a instant speed time step potion.
Right.
So it's like I don't know.
Maybe like
other than
bottom end of
Ninja.
role player.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably where it goes.
Yeah.
Here we're getting closer and closer to a Benji OTK deck. Kadachi for 1. Get my 2 cost off the top. Keep going.
There we go. And yeah, quicken tokens can benefit a lot of heroes. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying even in Guardian, right? You can hit hammer for 6, search a big attack, arsenal it, and then have the Quicken token for next turn. Try to do a setup
Man.
play.
mhm. Yeah, you could definitely do that as well. All right. We just have 8 cards left. These are all class cards.
Oh.
Let's just go left to right here. Let's start with Wild Ride. It is a 2 cost brute action that attacks for 6, 5, or 4. Does not defend, just like the card that I'm about to compare it to. When you attack with Wild Ride, draw a card, then discard a card at random. If a card with 6 or more power is discarded this way, Wild Ride gains go again. The most clear comparison to this is Pulping.
Yeah.
Which
Is a
gives
staple.
Dominate, and if
If
they
it hits, go again.
yeah,
right?
and they can if it's defended with 2 or fewer than 2 cards, it gains go again.
Right.
So exact
think-
same cost, exact same power, exact.
This is
same
a staple all day, right?
Yeah, any
Yeah.
brute card that has go again and attacks
Yeah.
for 6, and
Right.
doesn't cost 3. I feel like that's pretty solid staple.
Well, not only
Yeah.
that, but you draw the cards you're discarding, so it doesn't. It's not an additional cost. It's just a relative cost. So
Right.
All right,
that's a
Right.
staple all day. Any brute deck that wants to go quick, throw them in.
and and you could consider this copies 4 through 6 of Pulping if you want. I actually think this is slightly better than Pulping.
Yeah.
actually.
I agree.
So,
I like
100%.
guarantee go again.
Absolutely.
yep. The Pulping, you could always run into the situation where they defend from hand, sink below from arsenal, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sad time for me. All right. Macho Grande, 7 cost attack. Attacks for 10, 9, or 8.
Do we even need to talk about
Yeah,
this
do
card?
we know?
Okay, that
3
blue-
block,
the-
dominate. The blue is
The
amazing.
blue is absolutely a 10 out of 10
Yeah.
card. Like
I
for
th-
the Bravo deck.
I think you have to throw it in All Star, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to go on every Guardian deck that can
Right.
play this card is going to play this card.
Yep.
Dominate on the card and 8 on the blue. Like,
And 7 is very easy to pay if you
Yeah,
have
with
a
one
little bit of
surge.
setup. Yep.
I mean,
Um,
Oldham needs a little bit of a finisher in the late game. That's it.
It's better
You
than
know?
Glacial. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that card.
all right, so here we have the most Timmy of Timmy cards. We have Pulverize. It is a 10 cost attack for 14 that defends for 3 with Heave 3. This is a new keyword. It says at the beginning of your end phase, if Pulverize is in your hand and you have an empty arsenal zone, you may pay 3 and put Pulverize face up into your arsenal. If you do so, create 3 Seismic Surge tokens. When Pulverize hits a hero, their first attack during the next turn has -4 power.
So when I read this card, I instantly thought this is terrible, and then I had to try to actually use my brain to figure out, like, is this card like playable? And the answer for me came down to be, I might, if I was a Guardian player, put some of these in my sideboard for a Guardian mirror match. If I'm playing Awakening. But other than that, I don't feel like this card is playable because it has too many constraints. For one, I need to put it in my arsenal, right? So I have to have an empty arsenal slot. 2, I had to have not blocked with at least 2 cards out of my hand, and one of them has to be a blue. So, like, you might have some inefficient blocks because you were trying to set this card up. 2, Awakening only works when you have less life total, and the impact of this card in a mirror match is going to be quite good if you can get it off, because their first attack is null and you attack them for 14. So I think in that sense it's going to be quite powerful if you're able to resolve it. But I absolutely hate a card that if I have a 4-card hand, I cannot play the card. And I have 3 blues in my hand, and this card, I cannot play this card.
The energy just doesn't quite line up because it costs 10, and all in order to make this cost 6, you'd have to Seismic Surge on the turn before, which costs an energy, and then you'd have to have 3 energy remaining, so that's 4 energy, and then all the Guardian weapons cost at least 3, so that brings you to 7. Things just don't.
And then you have to draw the blues on
work.
the setup turn because Seismic Surge pop at the beginning of your turn regardless. So I just can't foresee this card being that great.
I think, me personally, I'd put it in role player. My thought process is, I think sometimes we get a little too hung up on, like, I got to play this card, right? How many cards in the Bravo deck do you actually play?
Yeah.
Right.
What reds are you taking out for this?
Well, so that's a great question, and I think the sole fact that it singly triggers Rouse the Ancients, makes it a contender in any Guardian deck that needs to go quick. Which is it's the toughest matchup is Prism. Is you need that go again, and it prioritizes arsenaling a Rouse, which is already a pretty high priority anytime that you're in an aggro matchup. And then you draw that, you trigger it instantly with 1 card, so you can literally just 2-card Rouse for 7 and go again, and then pitch another blue and swing hammer for 6.
So Rouse was 3 resources, right?
I think it's 2, right?
2?
It's 2 or 3.
So for instance, you have a blue in your hand plus this card and Rouse set. So optimally, you pitch, Rouse, reveal this card, and then attack with a hammer, or I guess best case scenario, you have E-Strike bottom a card, pitch, hammer. So you're able to attack 3 times.
Sure. More likely you just swing with hammer after for 6.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's the best thing that this card can provide to us. And I don't think that the amount of times you're going to see this card in your hand.
That's true. That's
or
fair.
just the Rouse.
Yeah.
And then also, like, Bravo doesn't general. I mean, like, you might have 50% of the hands you draw have enough to trigger Rouse. You don't really. I mean, you're not getting rid of those cards; they're just revealing them. So I don't feel like there's like the upside to that. Doesn't feel high to me, but I'm also not the Guardian player, so
Yeah,
I,
this is where Nom need to
I
come
would
in.
move it up a little bit based on what Nathan said.
I'm personally
you
scared of
may
this card.
you probably are not actually going to play this card that much. It's more
Right.
of a supporting card for Rouse.
like I said, I would put it in the Guardian Mirror. I think that like if you're playing Awakening in your deck and you have
for sure.
and like you just take a hit, right? And then you instant speed Awakening, search this card out, have fuse the Awakening, have 10 R, pitch the blue Evergreen and just like smack them in the face with this card. Like that could be really brutal. Like, because I mean, all it has to do is hit. It doesn't have to crush or anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got 14 coming at them, and then if it hits, they have no turn because -4. So that's the only situation I personally can see it in. But I can see an argument for the Rouse. I just don't think it's impactful enough. But
Sure.
All right, we have a warrior card coming up next. We have In the Swing, a 0-cost attack reaction that defends for 3. Play In the Swing only if you've attacked 2 or more times with weapons this turn. Target weapon attack gains 3, 2, or 1 power. So this is one of the rare warrior attack reactions that does not require reprise.
Yeah.
But it does have its own conditions, just like Second Swing. So in order to attack 2 or more times with weapons, you are either running 2 weapons or you're running a one-handed weapon with some way to attack again with it, whether that's Lumina Ascension or Dorinthia's hero ability. So this is it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to trigger. This is actually the most useful in Kasai, now that I think about it, because a common play pattern for people to do is if they block your first saber, if they intend to block, they will let your first saber hit, and then they'll block your second saber to keep you off to just give you 1 coin, or to give you, let's say you have 1 already. If they let you hit both of them, then you'll go to 3. That's still not enough for Kashid, right? So this is most useful in Kasai. However, this actually might see some use in as a replacement, as a replacement for Iron Song Response. Maybe replacing 1 or 2 of them, having a little bit of flexibility. I don't know.
Axis Story, right? It's gonna play this, right?
Yes,
for sure. If that ever becomes a thing. Yeah.
But the question is Axe Story like good enough?
Not yet.
Not yet. But
maybe one day.
But it seems like they've given a lot of support to 2-weapon style warrior, which is interesting. You basically have to lead with an unconditional go again, and then if you could put some type of on-hit effect onto it, it seems like quite a few hoops to jump through. Ultimately, I'm just going to see this in Kasai and maybe as a blue pitch.
Niche
for sure.
Niche.
Very, very niche. I guess I'll put it next to High Striker. I have a feeling Kasai will be playing both of these. Or not Kasai, but Warrior Money Deck will be... Meme Warrior Money Deck will be playing both of these. All right. Coming down to the end here, just 4 left. We have Fractal Replication, a 0-cost. This is a Majestic, so it's only red pitch. And its attack and defense are represented by stars. It's an illusionist attack, and it says, when you play or defend with Fractal Replication, it gains the abilities and effects of all illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. Fractal Replication's power is equal to the greatest base power among illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain. Fractal Replication's defense is equal to the greatest base defense among illusionist attack action cards on the combat chain, meaning it can't block by itself. It has to block with a buddy. So this is quite strong. This is
I've actually had a conversation with a friend today about this card, trying to figure out. He's also a Prism player, just trying to figure out, because this card is very like, I feel like it's a deceiving card. Like, so for instance, in Prism, I'm saying Prism specifically because I think that there's probably going to be another illusionist that they create or hasn't come out yet, or we haven't seen, that is going to play this card quite well. But in Prism solely, this is a red card. You have very, very limited red card slots in the deck. It's a 0 cost, which is fantastic, so we're not even going to talk about that. Having to block with a buddy is usually not a problem. When you're blocking with Prism, you're usually blocking the whole turn. So I'm not really worried about that. The things that I don't like about this card, I'm just not a big setup kind of person. And the biggest way I can see this card being very good is with a card like Phantasmaclasm, or a card that has a very, very powerful effect like Erudition, and those kinds of things. But those cards are very susceptible to being popped, because those are major targets for that. So you could set up a turn that maybe attacks with, like, I don't know, any herald that has a decent effect, and then you follow it up with this card, right? That first herald has to get past the pops. Even if you Phantasmal Footsteps it, it's destroyed and no longer on the combat chain, and so you can't use this card in combination with it.
So when they released Prism, they actually released illusionist cards, and they released light illusionist cards. And one of the cards that was very good in Monarch, Sealed, and Draft was Phantasmify, which is just an illusionist class card.
Right.
So you could actually Phantasmify anything and then play this. So you could Phantasmify a Command and Conquer, come in for 11. Okay, actually, you don't have Go Again, so actually that doesn't work. But you would have to Phantasmify something with Go Again, with
right?
A relevant on hit trigger.
And that's what I'm getting at, is you need two things to make this card work, or else it's just a blocking red card in your hand, which Prism already doesn't like. You need Go Again, and you need them not to pop the first card.
I've read into this card, and I have a theory on it. So my thought process is to run only one, and only side it in when you run Dreamweavers. Because if you read Dreamweavers, the text on Dreamweavers says give the card the effect of no phantasm.
Yeah, it removes the Phantasm clause.
And gives it the effect that it cannot gain Phantasm. So if you play a Herald of Triumph or Erudition or whatever, and Dreamweavers it, and then you play this, you get a second Dreamweaver. Or you can even go into a second Angel and then play this as a third. And then you get the effects of both, which would also include the can't gain Phantasm clause that would be built into the first one.
Yep.
So this would be best in, like, when they're using a Tome of Divinity combo with Halo.
I think it'd be an aggro Prism, basically.
Yeah. Heavy aggro Prism with like what Josh was talking about, with like the Phantasmifies and things, and maybe you'd run it in combination with something that, like, the blinding beams or something to, like, shrink attacks so you can't pop it. I don't know. But for right
as a
now,
Prism
like,
player, where are you putting it?
At the red slot, a red slot in the Prism deck needs to be very, very good.
That's why I say one, just whenever you use Dreamweavers.
Exactly. So, like, Phantasmaclasm, Herald of Triumph, those are typically your 2 red card slots. Wartune Herald sometimes. This card I'd put at, like, the bottom end of role player, because I think it is going to see some sort of play, and I do think that it can be good,
especially if they make a new hero.
Right. Oh yeah. If they have like a more aggro-y, like, illusionist hero that runs like all the non-attack action illusionist cards, and you can make some beefy big boys, and then 0 cost this after a chain. Like, that could get nasty real quick.
All right. Let's talk about High Roller, a 0 cost brute action that defends for 3. Comes in 3 pitches, actually. It says if you have rolled a 4, 5, or 6 for the red, 5 or 6 for the yellow, or just a 6 for blue, on a dice this turn, intimidate twice. So it has intimidate if you've rolled a 4, 5, or 6, intimidate twice instead.
Looks like a really good arsenal card in brute to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a brute player, but having most of their intimidates come from their like cards and whatnot, and like the big turns that they have where they really do a bunch of damage is the cards where they're like, people will come out of a brute match and be like, oh my god, he intimidated my whole hand and I couldn't block, right? Like if you are from Arsenal and you're able to get two cards out of their hand to start with, then you'll have a pretty big turn, like in Blitz or something.
But does this replace Barraging Beatdown?
Oh no.
No.
Yeah,
no,
for
no,
sure.
no,
It doesn't.
This is
Oh,
an
absolutely
addition
not.
to that.
Yeah.
Is there a spot for it? I don't actually know because I'm
The
not
second clause where it says if you've rolled a 4, 5, or 6, I mean, we can basically just pretend that doesn't exist, right? Because you're not. If you have a turn where you're actually going to play this for value, you're not going to risk it on a roll. More than likely.
Well, you would scabs first, right?
You scabs first and then play this after.
Right. Like if your scab is successful, then you go off.
Then you would play it. Yeah.
And then intimidate 2 cards. So if you just have one barraging or any other trigger of intimidate, then all your barragings are live. So yeah, maybe that is a good arsenal. Yeah.
It's a 3 card like High Roller plus a barraging beatdown plus a yellow or blue pitch.
Is there a way for them to make this different pitches?
This is
Yeah,
yellow
it's got all
and
3.
the blue pitch says if you've rolled a 6.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's
So
not
you're only
good.
playing the red.
Yeah.
I would actually say I would run yellow because it's a pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
I can
run
see
yellow.
that.
I
can
wouldn't
see
run
that.
red or blue. I would just
Make it
yellow.
a true high roller.
Yeah.
Right.
Reinhardt is quite
He likes yellows.
yellow pitch. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. What are we thinking about this one?
Role player.
Yeah, I see it.
Low
somewhere
role
in the
player?
low role player maybe, or mid role
niche.
player. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not niche. I think you'll see some kind of play.
Sure.
It's a fun card.
All right. We have fun cards. We have a Benji specialization up next. A 0 cost yellow pitch, 2 attack, 3 defense. Says when Spring Tidings hits, draw a card for each other attack action card with 2 or less base power you control on the combat chain. The potential for
All-star.
shenanigans
All-star,
is ridiculous here.
All-star.
This
I think.
the
Like you said, potential.
the potential for shenanigans is actually very, very, very high with this because
Benji needed something, and like if I was to print a card
he
for
got
Benji, that's
He got it. Yeah.
He got it.
print.
The only issue is like if you were to make a chart on like win percentages on the games you got this card and didn't get this card, it's like 15% to like 70. Like
Okay.
it's a huge swing.
I'm actually gonna poo-poo on this card slightly
No,
because
Go for it.
because in the context of Blitz, so Benji is only in Blitz, right?
Yeah.
Who are you fighting against? You're fighting against Dory, Briar, Ira, and Kano generally at the
You
top
have to
tables.
block. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it says this is a 2 power attack that your opponents are going to know that you have in your deck, and 3 of those heroes are just going to save all their armor for this.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Shuts it down.
Kano arguably, Kano already finds Benji food because he has 17 health. But
All right, Josh,
Right.
we're not arguing that Benji is good.
Yeah. But this is the best
we
card
know
it's got.
Benji
All
is
right.
not good. But
Okay,
to get there, it
fair
needs
enough.
steps like this.
Right.
okay, we'll put it at the bottom of All Star because
Yeah.
there's no conceivable world where you don't play this and if you can
Right. It's just an auto include.
work a little bit for it, you can get you can
I agree.
you can get that. All right, the final card we have is the gigantic arrow named Battering Bolt. It is a 2-cost arrow that attacks for 6. The first time we've seen an arrow attack for 6. Attacks for 6, 5, or 4. Blocks for 3. And it says when Battering Bolt hits a hero, they reveal their hand and discard all cards other than action cards. Then they lose 1 health for each card discarded this way.
This card basically is like I'm trying to get all the D-reacts out of your hand, but guess what? Those are going to get used on this card. So, costing 2 and costing 2 for an arrow, I feel like it needs to do a lot.
This needs to be given Dominate, and this needs to be
the worst card without Dominate.
Yeah.
This is like the most Azalea card we've seen in a while.
Or if there's a strong Shiver build, maybe.
Yeah. There still needs to be a front pump and a way to give this Dominate, and
Ice Quake. Yeah, why not?
I mean, I know we don't really play Ranger, but against Warrior, isn't this pretty good? Getting reactions out of hands.
I mean, if it hits,
If
they
it can
basically
hit,
lose their whole hand.
Yeah.
Well, they lose most
exactly.
of their hand.
It could be a good sideboard card for Warrior matchup.
The thing is, Warrior against Azalea, which I rarely play, but I group Azalea in with Bravo and Dory. Like when I see an Azalea, I bring my shunts in. So I don't know if this is actually going to hit. If this does see play, like this is going to be like the card I use shunt on. So,
good old fashioned low end role player, high end niche.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Or is
I think
it
for
a
Azalea, it's a role player sideboard card, right?
yeah.
But for Ranger as a whole, I think it's a niche card.
All right, we'll put it at the top of niche then.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, we have finished our tier list.
Nice.
So looking this over, is there anything that you would like to move? We'll just briefly go through it. So in All-Star, we have Icelander, Macho Grande, and Spring Tidings. In Staple, we have Skullcap, Bingo, and Smashing Good Time, along with Wild Ride. Role player, we have Arcane Lantern, Helm of the Sharp Eye. Even bigger than that, Fractal Replication and High Roller.
Yep.
In Niche, we have a ton of cards. We have Battering Bolt, Skull Crushers. This round's on me. Pulverize, pick a card, any card. Kraken's Aether Vein, High Striker in the Swing, and Amulet of Haven Call. We have 2 Dark Horse cards, Fire Breathing and Bravo, Star of the Show.
And then those who shall not be named.
And we have Knick Knack, Brick-a-Brack, and its friends. And Valda, Life of the Party, right? So
There's one we gotta move.
Right,
we need to move the Runeblade support onto the tier list because I don't see any.
There are no Mechanologist cards.
We gotta fix that. Our day's tomorrow.
Exactly. Right, Nathan?
The only one I would make an argument for moving is Smashing Good Time up to All-Star just because it's
a good shutdown card.
I mean, it's like
it's a silver bullet.
It's not just a good shutdown card. Like, it's absurd. But I think I mean, that's the only one I could even make an argument for moving. I think we did a good job at placing.
I think
cards.
it's solid. Yeah.
Well, we'll move it up. Let's go, Captain. All right. All right. I think that is. Yeah.
I think that is. I just want everybody to know that's watching the video. If you've made it this far, cool.
Thank you.
The true MVP. This is basically a podcast. I just want everybody to know that like we still have a lot of cards to see, and cards on this list will undoubtedly change positions on this list based off of other things that we see. So this is with the only knowledge that we've been given, and obviously, if you watch the podcast, you'll understand our reasoning behind everything. So if you disagree or agree with anything, please let us know down in the comments down below, because we are by no means the right on all of this. So that's why card games are so great. It's because there's so many people that play them and so many people to build decks and strategize, and everybody wants to play differently, and that's what card games are for. And so everybody has a different thought process, and as you saw, not all of us agreed on everything. So please let us know in the comments, and like the video, subscribe. We'll have many more of these. Anybody want to make any final comments about the whole list or anything?
No, I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think so as well. Good job.
I can't wait to do my thesis on the new chain deck once I see cards. I can just talk all day.
It wouldn't surprise me if we saw like 0 rune building cards in the set, like maybe like 1 or 2. But
don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. All right.
Said all heroes get 1. Oh no.
Oh yeah, you might get 1
they
card.
Get 1.
You get 1.
A 3-cost Seeds of Agony.
You just scroll down to the very bottom. There's like a category with just 2 cards there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Take care.